I'd like to ask you to join me in Gasho for a short opening reading. This is from Renyo Shonin, the 8th patriarch of our Shin Buddhist tradition. It is as if you were hearing something for the first time, and you were to let it always remain something rare and wonderful, as if hearing it for the first time. That is how it is when you are in the state of faith. You might imagine it as always wanting to be in a state of hearing something rare and wondrous. No matter how many times you hear that one thing, it is so rare and wonderful, it is as if you were hearing it for the first time. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning, everyone. As Koichi very kindly introduced, my name is Reverend Marvin Harada, and our bishop of our Buddhist Churches of America, the head of our Buddhist Churches of America organization, has given me the privilege and opportunity to be the supervising minister here as an interim. And so I will be coming up here perhaps at least 2 Sundays a month. And the other 2 Sundays a month will be taken care of by your wonderful ministers' assistants and ministers here. And so 2 Sundays a month I get to come up to Sacramento. So I've spoken here over the years numerous times, so I'm very familiar with the Betsuin and with many of you that I've met over the years. So I am very fortunate, and I look forward to the upcoming, we don't know how long it will be, but the upcoming time that I'll be spending here to share the Dharma and to listen to the Dharma and learn the Dharma with all of you. Today, I would like to talk about listening to the Dharma, something very basic, very fundamental, especially so crucial in Shin Buddhism. If you were to ask me, what is your practice in Shin Buddhism? What do you do to gain awakening or to get enlightened in the Shin Buddhist tradition? Our answer is we simply listen. We simply listen. We listen to the Dharma. We receive the Dharma. So it sounds so simple, but yet it is not so easy to do, to truly do. So I'd like to reflect on listening to the Dharma with all of you this morning. And I'd like to share with you something from our former Gomonshu. Gomonshu is the head of our religious tradition, which is in Japan. We are a part of the Nishi Honganju tradition. And the Gomonshu is the head, like the Pope. And the former Gomonshu, he's now called Zenmon, published this book some years ago, The Buddha's Wish for the World. And in this book, he mentions that he was once at a temple that had a big sign in the Hondo, in the main sanctuary. And it was 3 points on how to listen with the heart, how to listen to the Dharma with the heart. And there was these 3 points. And he thought that was so wonderful that he noted it down and then he shared it in his book. So I'd like to talk about those 3 points. So the first point that was listed on this how to listen with the heart is you should listen as if you are listening for the first time. You should listen as if you're listening for the first time. First times are so fresh, exciting. Remember when you're a little kid, first day of school, it's both scary but exciting. My first day of school, I went to a small elementary school in Eastern Oregon. That's where I was raised. 25 kids in the whole school. First grade through 8th grade. So 2 rooms, like Little House on the Prairie. 2-room schoolhouse, 1st through 4th grade in one room, 5th through 8th grade in the other room. First day of school was scary. I had 4 people in my class. Then it got less and less. When I graduated from the 8th grade, there was just 2 of us. My classmate's name, I'll never forget her name. Easy to remember your classmate's name when you only have one classmate. Her name was Mary Lou Coleman, Every year, I call up Mary Lou Coleman. You want to have a class reunion this year, Mary Lou? No, let's not have it this year. Okay, we won't have it. Sadly, in the 8th grade, I graduated salutatorian. Which, of course, is second highest in the class, but out of a class of 2. Eventually, I graduated valedictorian, and that was when I graduated from the Institute of Buddhist Studies to become a minister. But how many people do you think were in my class at that time? Only 1. So I was at the top of my class, and I was at the bottom of my class, both at the same time. Actually, looking back on it, I can't even believe they had a graduation for just 1 student. But I've drifted from the point. So first times, so exciting. First day of school. First date. Wow, isn't that exciting? First kiss. I'll stop with the first there, okay? But first time you go on a cruise. First day on the job. Your first real job. All of those firsts, so exciting, challenging, a little scary. But listening to the Dharma for the first time, when we really listen to the Dharma for the first time, there's that kind of excitement. You know, if you don't mind, can I ask, how many of you here are here for the very first time? Some people here? Yes, the very first time. So we have people here listening now for the first time. And maybe there's a little bit of sense of excitement. What was that bell thing that was ringing? And what was the sutra chanting like? And what's that all about? So all these questions when you're attending for the first time. So we should listen as if it's the first time. Not listen as if it's like this. The minister comes up, today I want to talk about this. And you go, oh yeah, I heard this one already. And then now your mind shifts to the Warriors game tomorrow night or something like that. You know? And then 20 minutes pass, the sermon's over, and you really didn't listen. But real listeners of the Dharma hear the Dharma as if it's the first time. Every sermon, even if it's the same sermon they've been hearing over and over again, they hear it as if it's the first time. And we have people like that at our Orange County Buddhist Church. One lady, she's now 97, and she's taken my Introduction to Buddhism class maybe 10 times. Every time she takes it, I say to her, Sachi, you've taken this class already. It's, oh no, every time I take it, I learn something new. So it's always fresh and new. It's always like the first time. So that's the first point. The second point is you should listen as if the message is for you alone. You should listen as if the message is for you or me alone, not for anyone else. And that is it sounds like something easy, but that is also hard to do. Many years ago, I spoke at another temple. I gave the sermon, and afterwards, they have coffee and refreshments, and I'm talking with the members there, and one lady came up to me, and she said, "Oh, Reverend, that was such a wonderful sermon you gave today. Thank you very much." And she kept thanking me. I thought, wow, this lady, she's a real listener of the Dharma. And then she said, yeah, in your sermon, when you talked about ego-centeredness, self-centeredness, that's a really important teaching. Wow, this lady was really listening. But then she said, but you know what, Reverend? The one person in this world that really needs to hear that sermon is my husband. He's the most stubborn, self-centered, ego-centered guy. He should have been here to hear that sermon. See? She missed the point. She missed the entire point of the sermon. And this could go on years. You could listen for years and years and not have that subjective standpoint. Oh, Sensei's talking about self-centered. Oh, yeah, it's that guy, or it's that person, or my husband, or my wife, or my boss, or my kid. But it's talking about us. We have to be the recipient. So the message has to be listened from that subjective standpoint. So in that sense, it's not an easy thing to do, because it's easy to listen and hear things and think, yeah, that's that guy, that's that person, but not me, not me. So the second point, so crucial, listen as if the message is for you alone. And the founder of Shin Buddhism, his name is Shinran Shonin. He lived in the 1200s in Japan. And when you look at his writings, when you read his writings, it's always that subjective standpoint. He's not talking about anybody else but himself, his egocenteredness, his stubbornness, and so we have to look at his writings from that standpoint. Okay, the third point is you should listen as if this is the last time you will ever do so in your life. Listen as if this might be the last time. In Buddhism, one of the main teachings in Buddhism is the teaching of impermanence. Everything is constantly changing. We don't know what might happen tomorrow. Haven't you all had the experience where you were somewhere, you saw someone, you're at a dinner party, and then the next day you get this phone call, oh, did you hear the terrible news? So-and-so was in an accident, and that person that you just saw just the night before is gone. Or maybe a sudden heart attack or something. I think we've all had that experience. Well, that could be us too. Who knows if this very occasion here is the last time. Maybe this is my last sermon. First and last sermon as supervising minister at Sacramento. But I don't know. I don't know what might happen tomorrow. So I should give a sermon as if maybe this is the last time. And one should listen to a sermon as if maybe it's the last time. So that kind of listening attitude, that's what we're talking about. Think about how we listen, let's say, to a doctor when he's going to give us our biopsy report. You go in to the doctor, oh, we took an x-ray, we found this tumor, we better take a biopsy. So he takes a biopsy. Come in next Monday and we'll give you the report. You're listening to this biopsy report from the doctor. It's either one of two things, right? It's either benign or it's malignant. You either have cancer or you don't have cancer. And you're sitting here in front of that doctor and he's going to give you that news, whether you have cancer or not. Are you going to be sitting there texting or reading your email as he's going to give you this news? Are you going to be thinking about the Warriors game when he's giving you this? Are you going to be thinking about your grocery shopping list after the doctor's appointment? No way. No way. You are listening to his cancer or not. And I wouldn't doubt that many people here, some people here, you have had that experience. You've had that experience. That's how we should listen. So we should listen as if it's the last time. We should listen as if maybe I'm listening to my doctor giving me my biopsy report. In a sense, we should be on the edge of our seat. Only time I'm on the edge of my seat is if I'm watching the Warriors and the Cleveland play and it's a tight game. I'm on the edge of my seat. But it's hard to really listen like that. That's why it takes time. It takes time to be nurtured in the Dharma such that we become a listener like that. Like this 97-year-old lady that I mentioned, Sachi. I have many wonderful Sachi stories. Let me tell you another Sachi story that reflects listening. Some holiday weekends at Orange County, we don't have service. We let our families take a little break. Ministers get to take a break too, So some holiday weekends, we don't have service. So Sachi often goes with her daughter-in-law, who's a Christian. She goes with her daughter-in-law to her daughter-in-law's Christian church, because we don't have service. And so she goes to this Christian church. And one Sunday she went to a service there, and after the service, her daughter-in-law was just complaining about the sermon. She said, "Man, I don't know what that minister was trying to say today." She said, "I didn't get anything out of that sermon." And Sachi goes, "Oh, I thought it was a wonderful sermon." Sachi's not a Christian. You would think that she would be lost and that the daughter-in-law would have to explain to Sachi what the sermon was about. Sachi goes, "No, I think it was a wonderful sermon." And she began to explain to her daughter-in-law the point, the teaching of that Christian minister's message. How is Sachi able to get the message from a Christian minister when she's not even a Christian? Because she has been nurtured with that listening mind, that listening attitude. So she can receive a teaching from a Christian minister, from any person. She could be sitting at a bar and talking to a bartender and maybe learn something, or from a cab driver. But Sachi doesn't. That's not a good example. I don't think Sachi has ever sat at a bar and talked to a bartender. But you get the point. She could be anywhere talking to anyone, and she might learn something because she has this heart and mind of listening, of receiving the teachings, of being humble. If you're humble, then everyone and everything is your teacher. If you're arrogant, you don't listen to hardly anyone, only someone you highly respect, maybe Dalai Lama or something. But if you're humble, everyone and everything becomes your teacher. That's what listening to the Dharma means. It means we listen as if it's the first time. We listen with this subjective standpoint that it's for me alone. And we listen that, who knows, maybe this is the last time. So, 3 main points, so important for Shin Buddhism, how we listen. So that's the conclusion of my message this morning. Following our short service, I'd like to invite you, those of you who can remain, we're going to go into a classroom. It's classroom 1. You go out this door to your left, down the hallway. There's a large classroom, and we're going to have a little short discussion class. I have a handout of something that we'll read, and then we'll discuss it. So you're all welcome, even if you're here for the first time. And if you are here for the first time, if you have some questions, one of our minister's assistants can speak to you and answer your questions after the little discussion class. So another opportunity to listen and learn, and I'd like to share a wonderful sort of short essay with you today. So in closing, let me read once again this passage from Renyo Shonin about listening. It is as if you were hearing something for the first time, and you were to let it always remain something rare and wonderful, as if hearing it for the first time. That is how it is when you are in the state of faith. You might imagine it as always wanting to be in the state of hearing something rare and wonderful. No matter how many times you hear that one thing, it is so rare and wonderful, it is as if you are hearing it for the first time. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.